I spent months planning the perfect 36th birthday celebration at my favorite Portland restaurant, paying for everything to bring my family together. During dinner, my brother-in-law Marcus raised his glass and toasted to the family's favorite pushover. Always there when we need him, invisible when we don't. My stepson Ryan laughed and added, "Dad's just a temporary stand-in until someone better comes along." My wife Isabella rolled her eyes, saying he's like a broken GPS, wrong most of the time, but somehow still running. They had no idea I'd already emptied every shared account and prepared eviction papers that would destroy their lives forever. I never thought I'd be one of those people posting their life drama on Reddit at 3 a.m., but here I am, hands literally shaking as I type this. I'm 36, live in Portland, Oregon, and until 3 days ago, I thought I had a pretty normal family situation. Turns out I've been living in a fool's paradise for years. The whole thing started with my birthday. Not a milestone one, just another year older, but I wanted to actually celebrate for once. My wife Isabella has this thing where she acts like planning anything is some massive burden. So I figured I'd just handle it myself. Make it easy on everyone, you know? I picked this little fusion place called River's Edge downtown. Great Korean Mexican food, craft cocktails, and you can actually have a conversation without shouting. Nothing too fancy, but the kind of place where you feel like you're treating people right. The guest list was small. Isabella, her parents Carmen and Diego, her brother Marcus, who's been crashing at our place for 8 months now, and my stepson Ryan. He's 17, from Isabella's first marriage, stays with us during the week. My own parents live up in Seattle and sent me a generic e-card, but whatever. That's just how they are. I got there early, handled the deposit, pre-ordered a couple rounds of their signature margaritas. I even specifically requested the corner booth so we'd have some privacy. The whole who's paying dance always makes me uncomfortable, so I just told the server up front that everything was on me. Isabella texted she was running late. Classic. Marcus actually showed up first, wrinkled flannel shirt, already scrolling through his phone. Barely grunted a hello. Carmen and Diego arrived next. Carmen immediately started complaining about the parking situation downtown. Isabella walked in 20 minutes late, didn't even apologize, just started talking to her mom about some neighbor's cat drama. Ryan slouched in last with his AirPods in, basically existed in his own world the entire time. The dinner started normal enough. Everyone talking over each other, Diego griping about the music volume, Marcus acting like the menu was beneath him. I'm doing the whole host thing, making sure everyone's got drinks, helping them decide on appetizers, keeping the conversation flowing. It's exhausting being the social glue, but I'm used to it by now. That's when Isabella started with her little comments. Nothing new, just her usual passive-aggressive jabs about how I love organizing things nobody asked for. She always does this thing where, if I take initiative, she has to cut me down somehow. Like she resents that I'm trying to make things nice. Her parents just smirk and let her run her mouth. They've never really warmed up to me, even after 4 years of marriage. I think they see me as Isabella's safe choice rather than her exciting one. But Marcus, he's gotten bolder since moving in with us. Thinks he's hilarious with his dry, mean-spirited comments. The kind of guy who calls cruelty honesty and thinks everyone else is too sensitive. I'm barely touching my food because I'm too busy playing waiter. Getting extra napkins, refilling water glasses, asking if anyone needs anything. Carmen drops her fork, and naturally I'm the one who gets up to grab another one from the server station. It's like I don't even think about it anymore. Just automatic. The bill comes and I handle it without a word. Diego glances at the total and whistles low, but doesn't reach for his wallet. Just shakes his head like I brought this expense on myself. I sign the receipt and try not to think about how that money could have gone toward the vacation Isabella and I never take because there's always some family financial emergency. But then something shifted. The energy at the table got weird, like they were all feeding off each other's cruelty. I've dealt with their individual jabs before, but this time it felt coordinated. Marcus raised his glass first. He gets this mock serious expression and says, "I'd like to make a toast to the family's favorite pushover. Always there when we need him. Invisible when we don't." Everyone laughed. Not just polite chuckles, actual laughter. Carmen did that fake cough laugh thing she does when she thinks something's particularly clever. Diego nodded along like Marcus had just said something profound. Then Ryan, my own stepson, grins at me and goes, "Yeah, Dad's just a temporary stand-in until someone better comes along." I just stared at him. This kid I've been supporting, driving to soccer practice, helping with homework, buying video games for. The kid I've tried so hard to connect with, to be a good father figure to. And he's looking at me like I'm some kind of placeholder in his life. But Isabella wasn't done. She actually rolled her eyes and said, "He's like a broken GPS, wrong directions most of the time but somehow still running." They all toasted, clinking glasses, laughing, like I wasn't even sitting right there. Like I was some kind of inside joke they'd been sharing behind my back for years. I sat there smiling, but something fundamental broke inside me in that moment. Not my heart, that's been chipped away at for years. Something deeper. My willingness to accept this as normal. My belief that this was just how families worked. I know what people will say. Why didn't you speak up? Why didn't you defend yourself? But honestly, I've tried that before. All it gets me is more of the same, or worse. They just say I'm being too sensitive, that I can't take a joke, that I'm ruining the mood. Isabella's always been like this, cutting me down whenever I try to step up. Her parents enable it because they've never really accepted me. Marcus just wants a free ride and someone to feel superior to. And Ryan, I think he's trying to fit in with Isabella's family by joining in on their favorite sport, making me the punchline. They treat me this way because it's easy. Because I pay for things and handle the logistics and don't make scenes in public. Because they know I won't blow up or storm out or make them face consequences for their cruelty. But sitting there watching them toast my irrelevance at my own birthday dinner that I paid for, I realized something. What if I just stopped? What if I stopped making it easy for them to walk all over me? I excused myself to the bathroom and stood there looking at myself in the mirror. Really looking. When did I become this person? When did I start accepting being treated like hired help in my own life? I went back to the table and finished my drink in silence. When Isabella wanted to take a group selfie outside, I said no. She actually pouted about it, like I was ruining her social media moment. Carmen and Diego complained about the cold. Marcus said he was going to Uber back to our place because walking 6 blocks was apparently too much effort. Ryan barely said goodbye, just mumbled something and disappeared into his phone. On the drive home, Isabella went off on me about how I made things awkward by not playing along with their jokes. How I was being dramatic and oversensitive. I didn't respond, just drove in silence while she worked herself up into a full rant. She slammed the car door when we got home and stomped upstairs. Marcus was already sprawled on our couch, shoes on the cushions, watching Netflix on our 65-inch TV like he owned the place. I walked past him without a word, went up to our bedroom, and locked the door. That night, I couldn't sleep. I just lay there scrolling through our banking app, looking at our mortgage information, all the utilities, insurance policies, everything that's in my name. Oh, everything I handle while they live their comfortable lives without a care in the world. I started making notes in my phone, just documenting everything I do, everything I pay for, everything they take for granted. It became this weird obsession, tracking every little way they depend on me while treating me like garbage. The pattern was nauseating once I really looked at it. Isabella never pays bills, just assumes they'll get handled. Marcus has never contributed a cent to rent, utilities, groceries, anything. Carmen and Diego treat our house like their personal vacation rental. Ryan only acknowledges my existence when he wants money for something. I'm the family's default problem solver, ATM, an emotional punching bag all rolled into one. But after that birthday dinner, I saw it all clearly for the first time. Not just how they treat me, but how I enable it. How I've trained them to see me as endlessly available and eternally forgiving. The next morning, everything started to change. Isabella came down expecting her usual routine, me making coffee, asking about her day, basically orbiting around her needs. Instead, I made 1 cup of coffee. For me. I sat at the kitchen table reading news on my phone. She kept shooting me these looks, like she could sense something was different, but couldn't put her finger on what. Finally asked if I was mad about something. I said I was just tired. What? She left her empty mug on the counter and went to work. I didn't wash it. That was day 1 of my new approach. Stop automatically fixing everything for everyone. Marcus was the first to really feel the impact. I logged into our bank accounts and removed his access to our joint credit card. Didn't say a word about it. Just did it. 2 days later, he comes storming into the kitchen waving his phone, saying his card got declined at a gas station and he's stranded. I looked up for my breakfast and said, "Sounds like you need a job." He laughed, but it was that nervous laugh people do when they realize the joke might be on them. Tried to get in my face about it, but I just stepped around him and walked away. Heard him on the phone with Carmen within minutes, whining about how I was being controlling. Isabella started getting paranoid. She kept asking why I was being weird and distant. When I just shrug and say I was fine, she'd get more agitated. The thing is, I genuinely was fine. Better than fine, actually. For the first time in years, I felt like I was thinking clearly. I changed all our streaming passwords and downgraded us to the basic cable package. When Carmen called complaining that her shows weren't working, I told her to call customer service. She actually hung up on me. Diego didn't say anything directly, but he started sighing louder whenever he was over, flipping through channels and muttering about these young people and their technology. Ryan got caught in the crossfire when he asked for money for some new sneakers. I told him to ask his mom. He said Isabella just told him to deal with it and ask me. I said no. He couldn't believe it. Actually asked me what was wrong with me. The beautiful thing was watching them all scramble. They'd gotten so used to me being their solution to everything that they had no idea how to function when I stopped playing that role. I started moving my personal stuff out of the common areas. My laptop, chargers, anything valuable went into our bedroom. I changed the main Wi-Fi password and set up a guest network with limited bandwidth. When Marcus complained about the internet being slow, I suggested he get his own plan. Isabella was getting more and more frustrated. She cornered me in the hallway one evening and demanded to know what my problem was. Said I was making everything harder than it needed to be. When I told her maybe she should try handling things herself for once, she actually shoved me. Not hard, but hard enough to make her point. I didn't react, didn't move. Just looked at her until she got uncomfortable and walked away. That's when I knew there was no going back. The mask had slipped, and I could see exactly who these people really were when they didn't get their way. I spent the next 2 weeks documenting everything. Every bill, every expense, every debt, every asset, ... The house is in my name. The cars are in my name. The bank accounts, the credit cards, the utilities, all mine. I researched Oregon eviction laws, printed out the forms, found a notary, made copies of everything, set up a new bank account and started transferring funds. Nothing illegal, just protecting my assets. I paid all our bills 3 months in advance on my solo account. Made sure the mortgage, insurance, utilities were all current and in good standing. Then I started draining the joint accounts. Isabella noticed the missing money first. Came at me with this accusatory tone. demanding to know where our savings went. I told her I was reorganizing our finances. She didn't like that answer, but what was she going to do? It was my money to begin with. The tension in the house was getting thick. Marcus started getting more aggressive, trying to intimidate me. Shoved my shoulder one evening when I told him to clean up his mess in the kitchen. I pushed him back, not hard, just enough to establish that I wasn't going to be bullied anymore. Carmen and Diego showed up unannounced more frequently, like they were checking on the situation. Carmen would make these passive-aggressive comments about how families should support each other. Diego would just shake his head disappointedly whenever he looked at me. Isabella started making threats. Said if I didn't snap out of it, she was going to call her parents to come talk sense into me. I didn't respond to her texts anymore. Just let them pile up unread. Ryan tried to play mediator, asking if Isabella and I were going to get divorced. I told him to ask his stepmother. He looked confused but didn't push it. The beautiful thing was watching them all realize they had no actual power in this situation. They could complain, they could threaten, they could try to guilt-trip me. But at the end of the day, they were living in my house, spending my money, using my resources. For the first time in years, I held all the cards, and they were starting to figure that out. 3 weeks after my birthday dinner, I woke up and decided today was the day. I had manila folders prepared with eviction notices for each of them. Everything legal, everything by the book. 30 days notice, all properly notarized and documented. I made myself coffee, just 1 cup, and sat at the kitchen table reviewing the paperwork one final time. Isabella came down first, yawning, opening the fridge, and sighing when she saw it was nearly empty. Asked if I was making breakfast. I said no. Carmen and Diego let themselves in around 9 a.m. They always do that, just walk in like they own the place. Never knock, never ask permission. Carmen started complaining about how cold it was, wanted to know if the heat was working. Diego grabbed the remote and started channel surfing, muttering about the news. Marcus stumbled down last, already in a bad mood, asking who ate the last of the cereal. I let them all settle into their usual entitled routine. Then I put the folders on the table. We need to talk, I said. Isabella rolled her eyes. Not now. I haven't even had coffee yet. Carmen waved her hand dismissively. If this is about the grocery bill, I'll Venmo you later. Everyone needs to sit down, I said, my voice calm but firm. Marcus groaned about having plans, but something in my tone made him sit. I handed each of them their paperwork. Eviction notice. 30 days. Everything's legal and by the book. The silence was incredible. Isabella just stared at the paper like the words were in a foreign language. Carmen's mouth fell open. Diego actually dropped his phone. Marcus was the first to react. Slapped the table and said I couldn't do this, that I was breaking the law. I told him everything was perfectly legal and if he wanted to detest it, he was welcome to call a lawyer. Isabella's face went red. She stood up and started yelling about how I wasn't thinking straight, how I'd regret this, how this would destroy our marriage. I told her our marriage was already destroyed. I was just making it official. Carmen started crying, saying I was tearing the family apart. I said they'd done that themselves years ago. Ryan came downstairs in the middle of the chaos, asked what was happening. Isabella screamed that I was kicking everyone out, that I'd lost my mind. He looked at me like he was seeing me for the first time. Why are you doing this? He asked. Because I'm tired of being the family joke, I said. Diego tried to play the reasonable adult, saying we should talk this through like civilized people. I told him I tried that for 4 years. Nobody wanted adult conversations when they needed rides or money or someone to fix their problems. Marcus got in my face, tried to intimidate me one more time, shoved my chest and called me pathetic. I didn't budge, just stared him down until he backed off. 30 days, I repeated. After that, if you're still here, the sheriff will remove you. I'm not bluffing. The next month was pure chaos. Lots of screaming, crying, desperate attempts at manipulation. Isabella went through every emotion, anger, bargaining, trying to seduce me, threatening me, playing victim. Nothing worked. Carmen sent me novels via text about family loyalty and forgiveness. Diego tried the silent treatment. Marcus alternated between rage and fake remorse. Ryan just seemed confused by the whole thing, spending more time at friends' houses. They tried everything. Called my parents who didn't answer. Posted vague social media drama, hoping for sympathy. Threatened legal action they couldn't afford. Nothing stuck. The beautiful part was watching them scramble to find somewhere to go. Turns out most people aren't eager to house 4 entitled adults who can't support themselves. Marcus tried posting on Facebook asking for help, got roasted in the comments and deleted it within hours. Isabella's friends suddenly became very busy when she needed somewhere to stay. Carmen and Diego's retirement community doesn't allow long-term guests. Reality was setting in fast. As the deadline approached, desperation got intense. Isabella tried everything. Tears, threats, promises to change, even attempting to seduce me one last time. I told her the only thing that would change my mind was a sincere apology and genuine behavioral change. She said I was being unreasonable. On the final day, I watched from the window as they loaded their cars. Lots of arguing about who was taking what, where everyone was going, whose fault this all was. Isabella gave me one last hateful look before speeding off. Carmen was sobbing. Diego wouldn't look at me. Marcus flipped me off from the driveway. Ryan stayed behind. Asked if he could still live with me if he followed the rules. I said yes, as long as he showed respect. He nodded and went to his room. That was 3 months ago. The house has never been quieter or more peaceful. Ryan and I have actually started building a real relationship, now that he's not trying to impress Isabella's family by treating me like garbage. Isabella tried calling once. I let it go to voicemail, just her sobbing about how I destroyed everything. I deleted it, without listening to the whole thing. Carmen sent a long email about forgiveness and family bonds. I archived it, unread. Marcus sent me a meme about winning the Petty Olympics. I didn't respond. Diego never reached out at all. The money's still in my accounts. The house is still in my name. The bills get paid on time. I eat what I want, watch what I want, sleep peacefully in my own bed. Sometimes people ask if I miss them, if I regret it, if I feel guilty. The honest answer is no. What I feel is relief. Like I've been holding my breath for years and can finally exhale. I'm not the bad guy in their story. I'm sure they've painted me as the villain who destroyed the family. That's fine. They can tell whatever version helps them sleep at night. But I know the truth. I spent years being their emotional punching bag, their ATM, their convenient scapegoat. I absorbed their cruelty and enabled their entitlement because I thought that's what family meant. I was wrong. Family doesn't mean accepting abuse. It doesn't mean being someone's doormat just because you share DNA or a marriage certificate. If you're reading this and seeing yourself in my story, let me tell you something. There's a way out. It's not pretty, it's not easy, but it's real. You don't have to live your life as background noise in someone else's story. I finally drew a line in the sand. And for the first time in years, I'm not moving it for anyone. That's my story. No happy reconciliation, no tearful apologies, no family reunion. Just a man who finally decided he deserved better than being the family joke. And you know what? I sleep great at night.